Welcome back to On the Nose. It's where we get a chance to look back on what happened in the weekend in terms of domestic thoroughbred racing and whether the bookies or the punters finished on top. And a man who always knows who finishes on top is our good friend Thad Taylor. Thad, welcome back in, mate.
Hello, Paulie. Good afternoon. Hello to everyone, wherever you are around the country. Yes, interesting domestic meetings last Saturday, and certainly wasn't all one-way traffic from our perspective.
Righty-ho, let's get straight into it, and we'll head up north to Tarappa, where, of course, it was Waikato steeplechase and hurdles day.
It was.
We'll go to race one, and race one was a maiden hurdle over 2,800 metres, and Squire at around $8 gets home. So I'm thinking probably a good start.
Yeah, good start. A wide open hurdle. A lot of them were having their first start, and the horses we opened sort of favourites drifted, and a lot of the horses in the sort of middle market and outsiders sort of came in to meet them because no one was too sure what was going on, to be honest. Steve Austin and Dorothy's daughter for Niall Quinn were shorteners, 31 into 15, 19 into 10. Brian Lamont was 11 into 650. And then the favourites like Sir Maverick and Son of a Butcher, who was having its hurdles debut, and Hayate was sort of on the drift. Squire was just missed, to be fair. It was actually 10 out to 12, so I was interested to see it started a bit shorter on totes, but plus 35 in the first, a tricky maiden hurdle.
Race two, another maiden hurdle over the 2 miles. This time it's a dictation for the Nelson McDougall partnership, and that's a partnership we see quite a bit of at this time of the year.
You're not wrong. Obviously they had two in the race, Tyker as well. Money was quite evenly split between the two. In fact, Tyker was shortening up late. Very Flash sort of held its ground, but that was the worst result in the race for Kevin Myers. That was minus 40. And there's a move for Justice. There, Dean Wiles, 16 into $7, but failed to complete, did Justice. So dictation, because of the money around Very Flash and also the stablemate Tyker, it was plus 20. Dictation, it was 440 out to 480.
Race three, open handicap over 1,200 metres, and one of the hot favourites for the day gets home in Twain. Boy, oh boy, going all right.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 runs back, 2 wins. And the price fell out. The floor fell out of his price, to be fair, because there was no money for the second favourite or the third favourite. Shoes was 340 out to 420. Gospodin 5 out to 850. So I guess that was going to get back behind Twain, and if it was going to be behind Twain, wasn't going to be able to pick it up. Gospodin ran an excellent race, but Twain was $2 into $1.55 because of the lack of money for anything else in the race. But at that price, sort of a manageable price in terms of liability. It was minus 20 Twain, but it'll be the multis that were mounting up on the back of that would have been a bigger consideration and concern for traders.
Race 4, maiden over the 1,400 metres. Time to play the game. Trained by David Green at around $4. And punters fight back a wee bit here?
Well, they had Ascension in the race for Sam Logan and put in such an eye-catcher first up that they wanted to be on Ascension straight away. It was 330 into 270, and then back to $3 late with the push for time to play the game, which happened really late in proceedings, to be fair. It was the hot runner on trackside because of that late push, 550 into 350. Rob's Mistake was also a losing result there. It was 12 into $11, and it was about minus 30-odd thousand Rob's Mistake, so a bit of smoke and fire there. But because all the money came early for Ascension, and the market move came late for time to play the game, it was actually plus 30,000, even though it was 550 into 350.
Okay, we move on to race 5. It was a maiden steeplechase over 3,900 metres, and the only other place that had more carnage on the weekend was in the US Open at Oakmont. But boy, oh boy, this... Well,
yeah. What do you say? What do you say?
Well, in the end, Stephen Beatson, Portia Matthews, and Uncle Charlie get home at around $19 the billy goat.
Yeah, it was 13 out to 17 with us plus 20,000. She was looking around after the carnage whether she should keep going because she was on her own, or is the race finished, she had to stand up to win after all that carnage at that fence there in the steeplechase, and then catch and release, remounted by Dean Parker, and carried on, but was 400 metres behind Uncle Charlie. I've never seen anything like it on a racetrack, I'd have to say. And I think George Simon echoed those comments, and he's probably been around a touch longer than I have, to be fair, believe it or not. But, we don't spend long on this. Oh, yeah, what did they back? Hang on. Your Countryman was well backed, as was Z for Z, but plus 20,000 Uncle Charlie.
As they say in rugby, play to the whistle.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Keep going until someone says, no, it's all done.
Exactly.
At race 6, this was the Waikato steeplechase. And after all this time, with Portia Matthews going back-to-back.
Yeah, exactly. And, gee, this is a move. 26 into $12. Kevin Myers. Obviously, the Nelson McDougall team had Ned Wynn and the Cossack in this race. And the move came for Ned Wynn as opposed to the Cossack late. He fell late in proceedings, the Cossack, which was sad to see. Hope he's fine. And Ned Wynn took money. So they both took money. They both had support, which meant even though after all this time was 26 into $12, it was a losing result, but it wasn't terrible. It was minus 15,000. So Kevin Myers spoiling the party of Nelson McDougall there, who'd looked to have the race at their mercy. Call Me Jack actually ran the Quinella. That was also a losing result, even though it was 13 out to 21. But they pulled the right rein, the Kevin Myers stable, with after all this time 26 into 12 minus 15. Did it put you? Surprise you? They pulled the right rein.
No,
Yeah.
Well done to the team.
Yeah.
Race 7, a benchmark 75 over 2,400 metres, and Kelly Myers gets Procella.
Yeah,
Procella.
Yeah, Procella, I think
Procella.
the name was. Yeah, good one. 6 out to 7, so no major push for it. It was plus 25,000 because there were 3 significant movers here, and the first one was Irrigate, who we didn't open favourite in the race, but certainly closed favourite, $6.50 into $4. That was minus 70,000. Flamenco was a move, 17 into 9 for Holly Wynyard. She's a talented mare on her day, but I don't know. So we want to see a little bit more from Flamenco. But the move was interesting. And Special Sway was an interesting runner. Led them up, was 41 into 21, and put up a really good fight. Was sort of in the finish there and just only faded sort of late in proceedings. But Procella was 6 out to 7, plus 25 because of all the money on Irrigate, which didn't run a bad race, but only could finish in the placings.
Race 8, a benchmark 65 over 1,300 metres, and a Lotus at around $17, $18. Boy, oh boy. This is tough. Tough for the punters, just at the moment, it seems.
Yeah. The odd rough result. And look, it's a tricky time of year. We keep saying that. I keep trying to make excuses on the leg up when we're on there to say, tricky time of year. Well, where's the colours of your good friend, of course, Lotus? Baz McCullum, ONZM or
ONZM.
Thank you, for saving my bacon there. So he probably had $1 on. I don't know, but 15 out to 20, back to 17 late. It was plus 30,000. Ziggy Stardust was minus 40. They backed it even from the wide gate, which wide gates weren't a problem there at Tarappa. It was minus 40,000. 2 movers. Ridgeview Vicky moved again. It's the 3rd time in a row they've backed Ridgeview Vicky. Probably ran the least impressive race of the 3 this time in. And Jethro Tull was 15 into $8.50 and led them up, handlebars down, put the acid on at the 600, kicked about 3 or 4 lengths clear at the top of the straight, and then just came to the end of it in the last 100 metres. But it was quite a good run from Jethro Tull, gave back as a sight. But Lotus 15 out to 20, back to 17 plus 30,000.
Race 9, it was the mile, open handicap, and Soldier, Soldier Boy at around $30.
Yeah, I know. And would you believe it was only a break-even result, Soldier Boy? And that's the fact they just love backing Soldier Boy. CD Raider up, and they've been saying it's been going well too. It's had 3 runs back. That was its 4th run back. And all the reports from Gavin Sharrock and the team was the horse was going particularly well. So if you're a Soldier Boy fan, and there are plenty to be fair, you've been well rewarded. So it was only a break-even result. Look, money spread everywhere else. I mean, Durzo had support. It got caught wide and went back and didn't really run on. Knights Realm ran an honest race, but the big push didn't come for Knights Realm this time. There was money for Channel Surfer. The only mover in the race that did run a good race was St. Bathans. Was $6.50 into 5, back to 6 late. But again, ran a good race first up, ran a better race second up, so getting close to a win, St. Bathans. But Soldier Boy looks a better result than it is actually in reality. It was only break even due to the fans Soldier Boy has.
Final race of the day at Tarappa. It was a benchmark 75 over the 1,400 metres, and your bet of the day, I believe, on the leg up.
Well said.
Joshua Brown had some Nice juicy odds too.
You can't keep a good man down, Paul. You know, that 25 outs, and you knew I was going to come right. Law of averages. With Joshua
Even
Brown.
a blind squirrel.
Exactly. They're talking about blind squirrels. Now, I don't think this is the fact that I tipped it, but it was 11-8, Joshua Brown, and it got shorter on the day, and then it eased out late. It was minus 45,000, Joshua Brown. So, it took the sort of sting out of the day for us there at Tarappa. We're probably trekking along relatively nicely, and minus 45 for Joshua Brown. Two big movers. Willett, 14 into 650 for Debbie Sweeney. Things didn't really go right for Willett. Maybe one to mark down. And Smoke Show again. They backed Smoke Show. Didn't run the worst of races. Went back down to the inside, and that just wasn't the place to be at that time of day. So that was 11 into 550. And Bridal Train was a bit of a run for our man Alan Sherritt from the back. I think that will be getting close to a win at short notice. Even though there wasn't a move for it, there was solid support, and it ran a good race. And the reports out of the camp are they're pretty happy with Bridal Train. So marked down potentially, but minus 45, the punters end on a strong note there at Tarappa.
So I'm just sort of going through the numbers in my head at the moment, and even though punters did grab a bit of cash back in the last, I get the feeling the bookies may have ended up on top at Tarappa on Saturday.
Yeah, there are a few decent results. Dictation, Squire, even Time to Play the Game, Lotus, Procella. So, yes, it was about plus 80,000 at Tarappa, but obviously Twain winning was everyone's anchor on their multis in the day, so probably have a chat about that towards the end. And then obviously Joshua Brown in the last was minus 45 to get punters sort of back towards even Stevens.
Right, let's head down to Wonganui and see if punters can fight back. Race 1 was over the 1,340 metres, and Charms Zafam with Ali Sol on board.
Yeah, and just gave nothing else a looking. Deserved a win like this. Charms Zafam was 550, didn't budge. But it was plus 20,000 because Fleeting Glimpse for Royden was 10 into $5 minus 90,000 to start the day. But didn't win, obviously. And it's Amelia for the Lowry Zeidenboss team was also 550 into 420. But Charms the Farm, because of the money for Fleeting Glimpse, who didn't run badly, I mean, it was plus 20 race 1.
Race 2, the 3-year-olds over the same distance, 13 and 40. And here's another good one for the day, Ma Terroir.
Very similar to the Twain race. In fact, even more pronounced, to be fair, in terms of the fact there was no money for the second and third favourites, or a very limited amount. War Queen was $340 out to $440. Palmero was $10, so absolutely friendless. And Ma Terroir went from $220 to $1.60, minus 25,000. Cyprus ran second. There was a nibble for it first up. There was a nibble for it again, 16 into 12 for Kevin Myers. That ran second, but Ma Terroir looks pretty talented galloper in the making, minus 25,000.
Yeah, I get the feeling it's not the last time punters will be rewarded for backing Ma Terroir. Race 3, benchmark 65 over the 1340 again, and knockoff with Leah Hemi aboard at around $4. Did punters find?
Short. Yeah, very good. Did they find it? Yeah, they found it. $11 we opened.
Oh.
Knockoff. First up. Just brilliantly found. Good ride, good race. Ran well. The only reason it wasn't an absolute washout this race is because of Exit Left, who was number 1 on the book. Knockoff was number 2. Exit Left, who was putting a slasher first up, was $480 into $3.10, and that was minus 70,000. Which meant knockoff was only minus 10,000, even though it was such a significant move. So, good plunge pulled off. Just wasn't the worst result, only because Exit Left was in the field. Mary Rose moved down the bottom of the book there, 41 into 17, minus 10 knockoff. Good plunge.
Race 4, benchmark 75 over the 1,200 metres, and Procol Boy with Mediana Hudson aboard at around the $6 mark.
Yeah, well, yeah, $7.50 we opened, $4.60 we closed. So did they get 6 on the totes, did they?
Just under $5.90, I think.
Yeah, well, you did a good shopping there on that occasion with Procol Boy, who looks to be a potential winter star in the making as well. And this was well backed. I mean, it was minus 35,000. The only other horse they wanted was Faravello, which was a 360 into 270. And then everything else, the Magawas, the Pepperies, were all easy in this market. And they were both coming off good runs, those two horses I just mentioned. So surprising to a degree, but certainly didn't surprise the marketplace that Procol Boy won, minus 35,000, $750 into $460.
Race 5, an open handicap over the 1340, and Bell's Bow out of the Robbie Patterson stable at around $4. So I'm guessing probably not the best result for the bookies.
No, money was well spread. It was, the open handicapper race, and they're all sort of an even-ish bunch. So there was a fair bit of money, but really the only favourite they wanted late was Bell's Bow. It was 380 out to 460, back to 330, as the likes of Tobias and Bradman got very soft in this market. There were movers down the page here. The worst result in the race was actually Old Town Road, 13 into 8. That was minus 40,000. Tavy Court was 16 into 8. And Hacksaw Ridge for the Rayner team, the locals, 26 into 11. So a funny little market in the end. And the only one of the sort of favourites that they did want was Bell's Bow, who was 380 out to 460, back to 330, but sort of a break-even-ish result, to be fair.
Race 6, a maiden over the 2,040 metres. Well, the luck of the Irish. Leprechaun with Ali Soul getting the claim at around $20. So do the bookies fight back a wee bit here?
Late support. It was a losing result. Minus 5,000, 21 into 18, Leprechaun. And because there was not so much money for the ones up the top of the book, Kwanzaa ran second. It was solid enough. The 1 and the 3 were easy. Vicky's Margot was 12 into 850 for John Barry, and She's Wondering was 850 into 5. She's Wondering didn't run a bad race, but to be fair, the top 2 cleared out. And normally Leprechaun would be a winning result, you would have thought, but lack of money for the favourites meant it was minus 5,000.
Oh, dear.
Yeah, one of those days.
Race 7, benchmark 75 over the 20,040 metres. Who knows? Uh-oh.
They knew.
Yeah, they did indeed.
But I mean, who wouldn't? I mean, Blind Freddie would have known, to be fair. It was riding well and truly on the wall. It was just a whether she could replicate it on a track that was worse again and replicate it. She did it very easily by about 6 lengths, minus 30,000, 245 into 210. Quid went the other way, 330 out to 7, no money. 2 movers here. Our Damo, 26 into 12 for the Connors team. Now Damo will be one to mark down, ran a good race for third. And Grey Invader didn't run badly either, 17 into 10. So they're probably 2 that you want to just put a little mark next to Our Damo and Grey Invader. But who knows, did what she needed to do as far as the customers were concerned, minus 30,000.
The final race of the day, race 8. It was a benchmark 65 over the 2,040 metres, and the Lisa Latter trained Identikit with Leah Hemi aboard rounds out the day.
Yeah, a little bit easy, but sort of relatively well backed as well. I mean, Lisa was on the radio. It might have been Leah. They were both on the radio that Saturday morning, and they both said Identikit would be a big chance in the race, and it proved to be. It was one of those was it a 65? Yeah, one of those
was indeed, yep.
Big 65 fields where everyone's having a bit of a crack at everything, and it's the last race, which meant it was just plus 5,000, Identikit. Carignan, 14 into $5. 35 starts for 1 win in like 10 seconds.
Is that our good friend Mr. Myers
again? It
Yeah.
is. That was the big mover, and then they were just having a bit of a shy at the stumps at a few things. The Finster, who likes the track. Subtle Image, who's getting closer to a win, you would think. And Cleo's Magic was a mover at odds. It was around 41 into $18. That didn't really feature. So funny little way to finish. Tough race. Carignan was the mover, but don't know quite what to make of it. Identikit minus 5,000, 6 out to 8.
So I'm quickly, once again, trying to do the calculations in my head.
You're a master of the numbers.
But with the likes of Matewa and Who Knows, both saluting the judge, I'm guessing punters fought back well at Wonganui.
Winning day for customers at Wonganui, around minus 80. Might have even been a touch more than that. And this is just in the singles we're talking about here, just in the single bets, excluding multi-bets. I mean, the likes of Matewa, Knockoff, Procol Boy, Bell's Bow, Who knows, and even Identikit and Leprechaun to a degree. So we just couldn't get anything going at the River City, to be fair. And it was
they probably threw Twain in as well.
Yeah, well, then this is the thing. And we're just talking singles, and we were 90-odd, 80-odd, 90-odd thousand down at Whanganui. We were 80-odd up at Tarappa. So it was pretty much a break-even day. But with
Under the covers,
if you peel back the onion, the 3 good things of the day as far as customers were concerned were Twain, Matewa, and Who Knows. and they all saluted. And then you maybe chucking a little bit of War Machine in the Stradbroke to finish
of course,
off.
Yeah.
Multi-punters had a good day. So it was a break-even day overall domestically. It was a losing day at Wonganui. Certainly Customs had a great time there, and a lot of multi-bets landed. So a good day for customers.
I'm guessing they probably threw in Pierre as well. Congratulations to the Weatherlies. They picked up a nice win over in the sunny Queensland, Eagle Farm.
He romped them too, Pierre. Absolutely. Sam Weatherly was staring down at his boots, and someone had to tap him on the shoulder and say, "You might want to look up, mate. Pierre's 7 in front."
Yes.
So, hey, good to see a good horse back. I say back, just good to see a good horse perform on the other side of the Tasman. They've always had an opinion of him, and rightfully so.
Okay, that's it for another On the Nose. But don't forget to check Thad out on his Follow the Money edition, where he'll try and identify a couple, 2 or 3 runners for punters to just keep an eye out for when they next head to the races. But for now, we're done again on the Nose.